Hello everyone, how are you? Hi, welcome to my final review of Atomic Habits. I'm trying to make myself look a bit lighter. You can see me, I hope you can see me very well. I really want today's video to be really short, so I'm just gonna go right into it. I really want today's video to be very short. So since the beginning of this month, or it's the beginning of the month and the beginning of the year, I have been doing a review of James Clear's Atomic Habits, and it was supposed to be a 4-part series, but I had some life happened and I couldn't do the series the second week of January. So I just wanted it to end in January, so I'm going to just do a 3-part series. Hopefully today I'll be able to get through a couple of the tips and tricks for the last 3 behavior changes. So in the first week, we spoke about what atomic habits means. I spoke about hi sis, hi, I'm seeing a couple of people joining. Hi, how are you? Hope you've had a great day so far. Okay, I was just going to continue because I really want today's review to be short, sharp and snappy so people can get, quick things from it, so it's not too long, because I know people's attention span is quite long. It's quite short rather. So I'm going to try and make it sharp and succinct. So as I said, we've been talking about atomic habits. We talked about what are habits. We talked about last week we spoke about the habit loop, which is we talked about what allows us to have a habit. Things like we spoke about the cues. So the habit loop is the cues, the craving. Then we have, hi everyone, just going to wave back to everyone. Just wave back to a couple of people. I can see a lot of people. Welcome, Virtual Sunday Book Club. Thank you. So as I was saying, last week we looked at the habit loop, and the habit loop basically is the cue. What spurs us to, something is a cue, from sometimes for some people is when you wake up in the morning, that's the cue. Then there's a craving. So some people, I'm not a coffee lover. I prefer tea to coffee. But for some people, waking up is coffee. If they don't have coffee, they haven't woken up. So that's the craving. The response is they go make themselves a cup of coffee. And the reward is they feel better. So last week we spoke about, how are all of the habits that we have, how are they formed? We spoke about the first law. So there are 3 in the book. James Clear talked about 4 laws of behavior change. And basically, we're not just talking about habits in a vacuum here, because everything that we do, we all have habits. Every single human being has habits. If you brush your teeth, is a habit. From when children are little, we reinforce it to them that when you wake up, you brush your teeth. When you go to bed, you brush your teeth. So they brush their teeth. So it's a habit. So we all have habits. But my aim for this is for us to be able to cultivate better habits, and for us to be able to, kind of ditch the ones that are not so beneficial for us. And one of the reasons why I'm really, hi Tony, welcome. One of the reasons why I'm really passionate about this is I've seen the power of habits in my life. People say to me, how are you able to do all of the things that you do? Because I and this is not trying to be boastful here. I do have a very busy life, but I found that the only way that I've been able to be consistent with the things that I do is by having the best habits in place. So when I read this book, as I said to my first video, I said when I read this book, it just kind of reinforced a lot of, hello, hi Tony. It reinforced a lot of the things that I already kind of knew in my subconscious, but then it gave me a framework for it. So today we're going to be looking at the last 3 laws of behavior change, and there are a couple of other notes. So forgive me if you see me looking down a bit. It's because I'm trying to make, what's wrong with this? It's my one of my it's my desk, so something fell off because I've got so many stuff here. So if you see me look down, it's because I did like an outline, because I want people to take sharp, short things away from today. So we're going to be looking at the 3 other laws of behavior change. And the three other laws, so the first one that we studied last week, why am I saying studied? The first one that we talked about last week was make it obvious. And we spoke about the cues. What are those things that will make your habits, what will make it easy for you? And so we talked about things like habit stacking and implementation intention. And implementation intention is, I want to do something, and then you don't just say, oh, I want to read. You say things like, I want to read 5 times a week at 9 p.m. next, and the book will be on my bed, or I've got on my sofa or somewhere. So implementation intention means that you don't just say, I want to do something. You actually implement, and then there's a plan to it. And research, and as James Clear said in the book, a lot of people who actually put an implementation intention to something end up doing that thing. We also spoke about habit stacking. So that's when you put one habit on top of another habit. And I gave an example. I said, when I wanted to build a habit of praying, I said, one of the things I did was, I said, after I finish praying, I know that the next thing that I need to do is I would exercise. So I was already praying and I was already exercising, but I just put them together. So the habit stacking is, I put them together, and that allowed me to be able to consistent with those two habits. And then I talked about how I am not really good with taking multivitamins. So I said I put those, because I was already praying and I was already exercising. So I know that once I wake up, I use my multivitamins. The next thing is for me to pray. The next thing is for me to exercise. So those habits are stacked one after the other. So today we're going to be looking at make it attractive, which is the second law of behavior change. The third one is make it easy. And the last one is make it satisfying. So the tips and tricks that I want to share from Make It Attractive, which was shared in the book, was a concept called temptation bundling. So in the book, he spoke about a guy. He in the book, for those people who haven't read it, he used a lot of examples. And if you've read a couple of personal improvement books, one of the things that make it interesting, hi Joke, one of the things that makes it interesting is, they use anecdotes. So he spoke about a guy, a developer, a software developer, who didn't really like exercising, but he liked watching Netflix. Don't we all? He liked watching, Netflix. So what he did was, he kind of put a software in his exercise bike that meant that for him to be able to watch a certain amount of episodes on Netflix, he had to exercise and pedal a bit more. So that's another thing that you can try when you're trying to build habits. So temptation bundling basically means is you link an action that you don't want to do with an action that you want to do. So you're most likely to keep to an habit or to keep doing something if there is something that you don't want to do, if there is something that you actually want to do attached to it. So I'll use myself as an example. I know this is not something that a lot of women or African women kind of admit to, but I will admit to it because I know that we're different. But I don't like cooking. Hi, Jemai. I don't like cooking. My friend, one of my roommates, and Joke will know who I'm talking about. I remember when we were in uni, me and my friend Thelma, we were roommates, and we lived together in uni. And Thelma was the cook. I was the cleaner. Even till today, she's always joking that, do you still clean the way you clean? As in, she's always joking that, do you still clean like that? So I've never, it's not like I cook, so don't get me wrong. I cook. But it's not something that comes, the way some people just enjoy cooking and they really, I'm always seeing people and they're like, you can see that this is something that they enjoy. Nah, not me. I don't really enjoy cooking. And quite strangely, I think, if I do say so myself, I think I'm actually a decent cook. It's just not something I enjoy. If where they do all of these quizzes and they say, which would you prefer? Would you prefer to get cleaner or would you prefer to get chef? Me, chef. I don't mind. I don't mind cleaner, I'd rather not do chores, but if you ask me to choose, I would rather clean than cook. But I have to feed my family. And it's not like my husband cooks as well, but, I try to do, again, it goes back to habit stacking. I want to get my days back during the week. So I meal prep during the weekends. But meal prepping during the weekends means that I have to spend a number of time, as in some time, standing on my feet, grilling proteins, doing this. I'm Nigerian. For anybody who's not Nigerian here, we like our stew, we like our jollof rice, and I'm married to a typical African man. So, I have to make like the efforts and all of that. So, yeah, Tony is in, I'm the other way around. So, hi, my twinnie. My twinnie is here, Bumi's here. So I am not really I don't like meal prepping. So that's what I'm basically trying to say. But one of the ways that I use temptation bundling is, one thing that I like is music. I like music. I like dancing. I like dancing. I like listening to podcasts. I like, just listening to things that would stimulate me, make me happy, make me gain knowledge. So I said I bundled together cooking. Yes, Joker, I totally agree with you. Meal prep stress. It's not stress, but as in, I know what you mean, Joker. So, but because meal prepping, so I'm doing this live at 7:30 because I want to, I want to have other things. I just finished with the kids, and I wanted to do this live at 7:30. Meal prep has saved me that. So we've eaten dinner, everybody's eating dinner, the kids are, they're going, as soon as I finish this, they're going to go to bed. But for me to be able to do that, to sustain that habit of meal prepping, I've bundled it with something I actually like doing. So strangely enough, I've actually started looking forward to cooking, because on Saturdays, which tends to be the day that I do my meal prep, because I have bundled with something that I like. So temptation bundling is linking an action you want to do to an action you need to do. So I like listening to music. I like listening to podcasts. And I need to meal prep so that I can eat healthier and so that I can have an option. And obviously it also makes my weekdays less stressful, because obviously working, homeschooling and all of that. So bundling those things together would really help you to be able to sustain a habit. So if there's anything that you think that you want to, you need to do, if there's a habit that you want to, for instance, you want to study for an examination, or you need to do, I'm trying to think of something, everybody has peculiar things that they want to do for themselves. Think of something that you really like doing, add it together, and it just makes it more enjoyable. I remember as well, obviously we don't have a commute now. For those of us in the UK, I haven't had a commute for over almost going to 10 months now. But I remember that, the way a lot of people used to be, like, Mondays. But I used to like, as in, it's not like I didn't have days when I didn't like Mondays. But or teachings or books whilst working out. Yes, that's a really good one. I also used to listen to a couple of people here will know what I'm talking about. So there's a particular podcast that I really like, Super Abundant Life podcast. Comes out every Monday. A new episode drops every Monday. And I actually used to go to bed on Sunday night knowing that, okay, there's something I'm looking forward to on Monday morning. So going to work was, when people were like, I don't want to go to work on Monday, I'm actually looking forward to, dropping the kids off so that I can put my podcast in and get on the train and just listen to my podcast on the way to work. So look for that thing that you don't. And so, not that I'm saying that going to work is a habit, but just look for that thing that you don't want to do and add it to something that you like to do. So that's one strategy for making it attractive. Another thing that he spoke about was most of the habits. A lot of us, no matter whether we like it or not, we are social creatures, so we always try to imitate those around us. And he said 3 things that were really struck with me. He said we often imitate the habits of the close, the many, or the powerful. I'm not going to go into the many too much, because he talks about why a lot of us that come from certain cultures, we do certain things because you when it gets to everybody, you for those of us who are Nigerian or African, I think is even an immigrant thing. If you ask I remember one of my an older friend's son, he said, Auntie, I don't want to go to university. And I was like, what do you mean you don't want to go to university? It's not. He was like, so Auntie, why did you go to university? I said, because we just go to university. That's what we do. We just go to university. What do you mean you don't want to go to university? Like, topic for another day. Well, what do you mean? I don't think uni is for me. His mom, and that's the reason why we were having this conversation, because his mom came and said, "Oh, you hear what this boy is saying? He said uni is not for me. What does it mean uni is not for him?" So I digress. So basically, we often imitate what everybody around us does. The reason why I'm thinking that way is that where I come from, you just go to university. That's what we do. So we often imitate the habits of the close, the many, or the powerful. So if you want to build a certain habit, Bumi is here, Tony is here, I actually met two of them on this particular principle. If you want to build a particular habit, you need to join a culture where that desired behavior is normal behavior. So if you want to become someone who runs, you join a culture where people run, because it allows you, it motivates you to be able to be that person. So I think I spoke about it in the first live where I said, when you want to build a new habit, the pinnacle of habit building, as James Clear said, is when it becomes an identity. So you're not just exercising. It's not exercising. You're someone who exercises. So this builds on that particular principle to say you're not just someone who exercises. You are part of a group of people who exercise, we run, we work out, we do all of these things. So if the second strategy for making it attractive is you do it with people, join a group. I run a book club. If you want to read, if you join a book club, a couple of people have been messaging me, yes, you don't want to turn up and be the person that hasn't read the book, even if you don't finish it, but you still want to be that person that has read it. So if you have a desired behavior, join a desired behavior change, join a culture where that behavior is a desired norm. There are other elements of it, but I have been exercising 5 days a week, or quite, as in I don't consider myself as someone who needs to exercise. I just consider myself as someone who exercises. It's part of my identity now. It's like drinking water for me. But I remember and this has not always been the case, when I started this journey. And so, as I said, I met Tony, who's here, on that group, a group called Women Empower. Is it Women Empower Women or Women? I don't know, but it was called WEW. And you would wake up in the morning, and it was actually virtual, because not everybody can join groups that are near them, especially now that we're in a social distancing world. You wake up in the morning and various people would have I'm not really active on the group anymore, but people would have posted stuff, and you want to post stuff that, okay, me to have exercise today. So it was so instrumental when I started in me keeping up the habit. Same with when I wanted to start reading again. One of the first book I finished was because I joined a group of people. Again, Tony is going to say, you keep mentioning my name. Again, Tony was part of that group. And even the first book I finished after so many years was a book that actually Tony bought for me. I don't know if she remembers. But it's very important that when you want to build a habit, you find a tribe. There's a reason why they say build a village. If you want to have a savings habit, if you're surrounded by people who have those similar goals, it is easier for you to get that. If you want to, for instance, learn a skill, I want to become a better public speaker, you join Toastmasters, or you join part of one of my goals, or one of the skills that I want to, leaning, it was leaning, you remember. One of my goals is that I want to become a better public speaker. And what have I started doing? I joined this couple of groups. I work, I lead things, and part of my job is public speaking. But this is what I'm doing now. Building the habit, and I surround myself with those people. So if there's any habit that you want to build, surround yourself with people who have that behavior. So that's the second way you can make it attractive. Another thing that you can do is you can create a motivation ritual. If there's a particular difficult thing that you find that you want to do, a difficult habit that you want to build, but you just find it that it's so difficult for you to do, build something that motivates you to do it. So it could be before I'm trying to think of something that I do, but I don't want to use myself as too much as an example. But if I so he was talking about when he was an athlete. he would do a particular routine before he started. If you know anybody who's an athlete, and I really, really admire athletes, because you know that level of training, that level of discipline, and everybody thinks that athletes actually like training. They don't. One of my most one of the most one of my favorite documentaries I've watched was the documentary that followed Usain Bolt's life. As not his life, but followed him as, you know, just to get an expose into his life. And he was the fastest man. I think he's still, nobody has broken his record. He's still the fastest man that has ever run. But he didn't like training. He didn't like training. And so there is this preconception, we think people like that would like training. No, he didn't like training. But he had to look for things that would get him in the mood. And that's the difference between people who are successful and not. You know, look for a motivation ritual. So he would, you know, that James Clear said he would have like a stretching routine, or he would listen to a particular kind of music to put him in the mood to be able to face that habit. So if there is something that you find that you really struggle to do, look for something that would be the first step in you doing the next thing that you want to do. It's different for everybody, but you just look for that one thing that will allow you to be able to go on with that thing. So those are the three things that you can do to make your habit change, or building, and not habit change, that behavior change stick. So you either do temptation bundling, which is you do the thing that you don't want to do, add it to something that you really need to do. So you add something that you really like doing, add it to something that you really don't want to do. Another thing is that you try and join a culture where your desired behavior is the norm. So when I say join a culture, it could be, you know, join a running club, join somewhere where people act the way that you want to act. And it's more likely, no matter how much we say it, we all are influenced by the people around us. You know, another thing that you can do is you can reframe it. And for me personally, this is and I think last year, this year, 2020 generally, the year we had in 2020, it kind of reframed a lot of things for me. So one powerful statement, and it was in the book that I saw it, but I've seen it somewhere else before. I don't know whether I was even on Instagram, where you reframe I have to I get to. Just that change in mindset of, oh my God, I have to exercise to. And literally, as I knew that I was coming to do this today, I thought about it, and I actually really was in that mind frame today. I was ill a couple of weeks ago, so my exercise has been really patchy. My exercise regime has been really patchy this month, and so I just literally just went back to exercising last week. And today I did my strength training routine, and then I went for a walk on my lunch break. And when I was coming back, you know, for me, it just occurred to me, I could feel. And yesterday I did a lower body strength training routine, so I could feel, you know, when you have like that DOMS where you can feel the muscle soreness, and I felt it, and I kind of like, oh my God, thank you, Lord, that I get to exercise, because when I was ill, I couldn't even get off the bed. So if you reframe that, so yes, you're going to have days when you're not motivated, but you know, I've had situations where people close to me. Last year, I lost a number of people who had children that were my age. So rather than, oh my God, I have to feed my children, or I have to give them, for me, it's a form of place of gratitude to say, I get to give my children food, you know, or I get to read. You know, I get to I get to be able to be exposed to this kind of knowledge. So if you can reframe your habits to the things that you want to do, or rather than, oh my God, I have to save, is I get to save. It's a privilege for me to be able to have enough that I can even put aside something. So that's another thing that I think he spoke about in the book, that I personally think can help you reframe your habits and make you actually look forward to doing it. So that is a paradigm shift. Thank you very much, Bumi. A paradigm shift. Change I have to I get to. And once you change to I get to, it then be like, oh my God, it's a privilege. I get to exercise. I get to do all of these things. So the next one he spoke about was make it easy. a lot of times we try to overcomplicate things. Make it as easy as possible for you. So one of the things he spoke about the friction in your environment. I think I've spoken about this as in you try to make it as easy as possible. Make it easy for yourself. If you don't want to drink fizzy drinks, I don't know, I'm always speaking of fizzy drinks. If you don't want to pick fizzy drinks, there is no point in you fighting the paradigm of saying, oh my God, the fizzy drink is there, I'm trying not to drink it. Take it away. Take it away. Make it as easy as possible so that you're able to perform the habit. So he spoke about reduce the friction within your environment. Your environment is very, very important in you building and reducing building habits and stopping bad habits. So reframe the environment around you. So one of the things he said was to build better habits, you reduce the friction. An example he gave was, if you want to start going to the gym, or you want to start going to the gym, don't go and sign up for a gym that is going to take you 30 minutes to get there. Because if you first of all think about the fact that, oh my God, it's going to take me 30 minutes to get there, it will make it difficult for you to do it. If you want to, I'm trying to think of another habit because I'm trying to think of something else. If you want to save money, if you want to save money, it's easier for you to just do like a standing order. That you don't have to. It's just I have to first of all log in, then I log in. When I log in, then it's probably not going to happen. But if you do a standing order that comes out of your account as soon as you get paid, it takes the friction out. It's just done. So as much as possible, any habit that you want to build, the easiest way that you can do it is what you should try and go do it. And then when you want to stop a bad habit, so inversely, when you think about it, just turn it around. When you want to stop a bad habit, make it difficult. The more difficult it is, so I'll use myself as an example. My phone can be a distraction sometimes. I know I don't have discipline when it comes to certain things. It's my phone. If I can't see it, I'll pick it up. When people will say, I don't touch my phone. If my phone is there, I'll pick it up 100 times during the day. And I think last week I shared, as bad as it was, I had to get an app to actually practically, I had to set an alarm on the app that the app actually pushes me off my phone for me to be able to do stuff. So I always say to people that it was like, oh yeah, really, and I'm not disciplined though. I have a lot of systems that keep me in check. It's not like I'm disciplined. So because I know that I'm not good, and some people who are my friends can actually testify to this, I never keep my phone. Hi, Banke. My phone is never in the same room as me when I intend to do focus work. When I intend to do focus work, I try for it. Over the last couple of months, I've actually even changed. I use the Bible app. I have nothing against the Bible app. I use the Bible app. But for me to be so intentional about this, I've started using my physical Bible again. And so because of that, I bought so I now have, and the reason why I was using one of the reasons why I love the Bible app is because I can get different versions of the Bible on the Bible app. But I've bought study Bibles. I now have CSB Bible. I have, and I know it's cumbersome because I can't show you here, but I have like actual, because I'm trying to hi Banker. I'm trying to increase the friction. And the friction I'm increasing is I keep my phone somewhere else. When people say things like, oh, you should just be disciplined, I'm not that disciplined. So if I think around December, I didn't want to be on Instagram. So I don't know, some people are more disciplined. If Instagram is on my phone, I'll come on Instagram. So I delete the app. I delete the app. So as he said in the book, if you want to stop a bad habit, you need to increase the friction. Because if I don't delete the app, so I was like, I don't want to be on Instagram for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I delete the app. So it makes it, yes, and another thing you can do, yes, is you can switch off the notifications. You know what, Toyin, I think you are better than me. Notifications is not going to work. I delete it, so I put the phone somewhere else. I know it doesn't, and worst case scenario, my phone is, I know my husband is always telling me off for this. I was like, what if there's an emergency? So worst case scenario, my phone is linked to my watch. So if I can see that I have like a important call, it means I have to stand up, walk and go and get the phone. So it's not there. It's the friction is, as in, it means that, so if it's not there, I get into the flow, I do what I need to do. So if you want to stop a bad habit, increase the friction. If you want to get, yes, Bumi, as in, notifications are off, because if it's not, you guys are even a bit better for me. Mine is, I'm extreme. I tend to be extreme with the way I do things. It's either the phone is not near me. So some people will say, I know, I know that if I between 9 and 5 o'clock, you might not answer my call. Yes, because that's the best way that I can get stuff done. And especially with homeschooling and all of that. And it's even really bad as well that when I finish this live now, because I'm trying as much as possible to stop some of my tendencies, my bad habits. Once is 9:45, there's the app switches me off. I don't get any notifications anymore, and it kind of pushes me off the phone, and it's telling me get off. So a lot of times I'll go and put the phone somewhere else where I can't reach it. So that's one of the things that when he talks about making it easy, for me that's making it easy, and for someone else it could be notifications, it could be something else. So whatever habit you want to build, make it easy for yourself to be able to do it, but make it harder if it's increase the friction if it's something that you want to stop. Another thing that he spoke about, in the make it easy was, he spoke about a 2-second rule. When I first did that, it was hard, but after some time you get better. You don't even you don't even think about it anymore, because the phone is not there. I can't see it. Literally, sometimes I'll just be like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry, but my WhatsApp messages goes crazy. People would have sent me, like, I think today when I picked up my phone, I had like 100 and something messages, and sometimes I respond to them, sometimes I don't respond to them, but I just need that level of focus to be able to do things I need to do. The second trick for making it easy is something he called the 2-minute rule. So the 2-minute rule is to make an activity manageable by breaking it into something you can do for 2 minutes. So if you say, and this is another principle that I've put into my fitness journey. So Banker is here. Me and Banker are doing a step challenge at the moment. So yesterday I sent Banker, I was like, obviously I haven't been well, but I'm getting back on it. So yesterday I sent her my steps for the day, which was 6,000 steps. And people had this all or nothing. So another thing the key of this 2-second rule is, when you're trying to build a habit, do not have an all or nothing approach to it. For me, something is always better than something. And it's something that he spoke about a lot in the book. James Clear spoke about a lot in the book. Don't say, I want to read more. So I want to read one book every month start with something that is manageable that you can do. And that makes it easier for you to do. Don't feel like a failure if you haven't been able to do. So if you say I want to read and you're only able to read one page is better than no page. I say it all the time. I say it to everyone. I say it to my kids. I say it to everyone. I am doing this 10K steps challenge, and it's not like the challenge is the point. It's the fact that I want to move more, because I realize that I'm very sedentary at the moment. Yesterday, I wasn't able to do 10K. I did 5K. What I would have done in the past, a different me would have been like, I can't do 10K. I'm not going to do anything. But I went, instead of me going for my normal 30 minutes, I went for 15 minutes. I couldn't go for the normal one that I wanted to go for, and I went for 15 minutes. There are days when I wake up, or I wake up late, or something happened, or when you have all these mishaps, and Bumi is here and she can bear me witness. Maybe the kids, maybe you have one child that something happened, and I try to exercise before my kids wake up, and something happens and they wake up. Believe you me, I would, because I don't want to break my streak. If my workout time is 45 minutes, I only have 15 minutes, I will still work out the 15 minutes, because to build a habit, consistency matters. Hi Lola. Consistency matters more than the amount of time you do something. So reading 1 page a day is better than reading 500 pages once in 3 months. Because what we're saying here is you want to build a habit. And in my post this morning, I spoke about, for you to become excellent, you need to get used to the idea of being bored or doing something over and over and over again. So the point is not, I spend 3 hours in the gym once in 3 months. To build a habit, it means that, okay, so I said this week I'm going to walk every day and I want to do 10K steps. But yesterday I didn't get 10K steps. I think I got 6K. Today, I did over 10,000. Tomorrow, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But it's for me to be able to continue that trajectory. he's always, throughout the book, he was talking about trajectory, he was talking about consistency, he was talking about following through. The difference between those people that reach their goals is because people don't get you fall tired, or you get tired of being bored. You need to be able to have the ability to be, and life would happen sometimes, but if you say, I want to, and sorry, I'm using reading and fitness, and I said I didn't want to use reading and fitness, but I'm trying to really struggle. You use examples by your life. Studying is, it can be something like studying, it can be something like saving. If people, Christmas time, if you say, I want to save 12 days a week, 12 months a year, and Christmas or something happens, a family emergency happens, and you said, okay, I want to save, I'm going to be saving every month, rather than say, I'm not able to save, I want to save £100 every month, and I wasn't able to save £100, but I have £20, still save that £20. The point is not the amount, the point is the act. And so that's what he was talking about here, the act of what you're doing, just continue with it. If you want to eat healthy, for instance, and you say, okay, I broke, something happened, and I ate an ice cream. Let your next meal be something that is it is the act. The act, you are voting for the person that you want to become. So the next, as I said, my mantra is something is always better than nothing. Something is always better than nothing. And that has helped. I have been exercising consistently for the past 5 years. And it's not like as if I don't have times when I don't. As I said, I just came back this January. I just came back again because I wasn't feeling well. And it's taking me a while to get back to where I was. But, last week I was looking at it. Some days I did 15 minutes. Some days I did 30 minutes. Some days I did 10 minutes. As long as I continue to say I'm the person that exercises and does this at this particular time. The next one is make it satisfying. As human beings, we are wired to delay gratification. Let's look at every bad habit in this world. Every bad habit in this world, and I think I spoke about it last week. Every bad habit in this world, you get the reward of your bad habits now. Junk food. Now, I want to sleep. I want to wake up. I use an example. Instead of me to wake up and pray, I go back, I snooze. I go back under my duvet. I feel nice. I did that this morning. I snooze. I normally don't snooze, but I did that this morning. I snoozed a bit, and then I woke up. I was like, oh my God, I'm late. I'm late for my prayer meeting. But all the same, one of the ways that you can actually make a habit stick is look for something that will make it satisfying for you. So that if you have you are delaying gratification, all of the things that we do, if you are saving, you are saving for something. A lot of times you don't get the reward of that thing that you're saving for now. But look for something that will allow you to make it satisfying for you. To say, okay, right now I'm choosing not to spend my money on, I'm trying to think of something. I'm choosing not to spend my money on takeaway. That's one of the examples. That's actually an example he used in the book. It was a couple. They were like, okay, you know what? We want to stop buying. So we spend so much money on takeaway. So every time they decide not to spend money on takeaway, they will put that actual money that, as in taking, it's not just, they would actually take the amount that they were supposed to use for the takeaway and put it into their account towards their holiday. So at that point, it was like, so it doesn't feel like, in other words, what he was trying to say is that you need to have something within you trying to form that habit that makes you satisfied. Because a lot of times you feel, when we think of habits or we think of, routine, it's very boring. It's very strict, discipline, as another discipline. When we hear discipline, it makes it seem like something that is very hard and harsh and not enjoyable. And if you want to YOLO, which is you only live once, you just like, what is it? And that's why I don't know about anybody else. Whenever I want to act irrational, and I want to, as in, I just be like, whoa, I cannot kill myself. Sorry, my Nigerian self is coming out. As in, I cannot come and kill myself, and I will just go and then I will buy what I don't want supposed to buy. That's what happens, because there is a satisfaction that comes from doing things that we're not supposed to do. So if you want to make a habit sustainable, you need to look for a way to make yourself satisfied. So it could be, if I go, so I don't work out. I don't work out on weekends. So I exercise Monday to Friday, and then I have I don't like to use the word treat because I eat whatever I want to eat, but I have a day where I'm loose, as in I have Sundays and Saturdays. It's not like I still go crazy or anything, but it's just a day where I'm not that regimented. So that's the word I was looking for. I'm not that regimented in the way I do things. So I have a cake. I'll eat treats, as in so I feel like, okay, there's a satisfaction there. I haven't made it as if I'm in punishment, because a lot of times when people do is like, yes, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat it, and it just becomes so rigid and it seems like a punishment. So the third, is it third? No, it's not third, fourth actually, is make it satisfying. Look for a way. That is the best way you will be able to sustain that habit. So that's all the rules, not rules, yes, the laws. Those are all the laws. Make it obvious. I think the third one is make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Make it something that will satisfy. So those are the 4 laws. So he then spoke about frameworks that we can put in place to make your habits stick, as in, those frameworks that you can put yourself to actually build it. So he talked about habit trackers, and we use habit trackers in one way or the other, especially in this world that we live in now. Your phone is tracking it for you. Your phone is tracking certain things for you. I remember the other day I was looking through my app, and I saw, all of those bar charts. The bar chart was looking at the days, and I felt really good with myself for the days where I was able to, not use my phone as much as I used to do it. So look for a way to track the habit. What is managed, or what is not measured is not managed. If you don't measure don't do this as a way to just castigate yourself. Sometimes it's just a way you look at it in a very impersonal way. Until I started tracking my phone usage, I did not realize how bad it was, and it's not as good as it should still be. But nowadays I kind of like, okay, I'm using it for some things that are a bit more productive. But if you don't track it, you're not necessarily going to know. It's until you track it that you now say, oh my God, I'm spending 8 hours a day. As in, or, you're like, how many hours a day am I awake if I'm asleep for 6 hours and I'm spending 8 hours a day on my phone, So you need to, if you want to make that change, if you want to make the change stick, regardless of what the change is, track it. Habit tracking is such a good way to be able to track. And one other thing, one caution that I want to give here when it comes to tracking is, don't let the tracking now then overwhelm you, because some people then take it to the extreme. It's not about that number. It's not about what you're tracking. So like I said, I use myself as an example. Yesterday I'm tracking my steps, but yesterday I wasn't able to get to 10,000. That's not the point. The point is just I'm tracking the habit, but the 10,000 is not the issue. So when you're tracking your habit, let it not be about that number or the target. I'm also going to bring in my professional knowledge here in continuous improvement, or in lean. There is something that we call you use KPI tracking. As you remember, talking about measurement. You don't use lagging measures to kind of track your performance, because your lagging measures are, it's something that has happened. Yes, and Bumi says to the point of obsession. It's something that has happened. There's nothing you can do about it. When you're tracking your habits, it's for you to see what you can tweak. It's for you to say, okay, you know what? This isn't working. Why? So I'll use an example. I want to work. Why do I keep using fitness? I don't want to use fitness. And I don't want to use reading as well. Okay, I'm trying to think of something else. I'm trying to think of something else. I'm trying to think of a habit that you can build. I want to pray with my children, or I want to pray. Let me just use I want to pray. Tracking your habit to say, okay, saving, yes, Bumi said saving, but okay, or pray. I'm trying to talk to you, I want to pray. And you realize that you wake up, you say you want to be praying at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then if you track your habits, you say, okay, yesterday it didn't happen. It happened on Tuesday, but it didn't happen on Wednesday. It didn't happen on Thursday. It didn't happen on Friday. It's not the point of tracking it. He's not saying, why am I not praying at 5 o'clock? Oh my God, I'm useless. I don't have any discipline. I'm such an undisciplined person. It's for you to look at it and say, I don't think this 5 o'clock. Yes, as Lola said, maybe I'm sleeping early, one, or Maybe 5 o'clock is not the best time for me. Yes. This is continuous improvement. Maybe 5 o'clock is not the best time for me to be praying. Because Oyinda says she prays at 5 o'clock doesn't mean that it works for me. Maybe my own praying I should be doing at 12 o'clock or 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Okay, so what I'll do is, as my sis said, as Tabimbo said, it's continuous improvement is plan, do, check, act. So I plan, I do it, I check, then I act again. I will look at it and say, okay, you know what? 5 o'clock is not working. Next week, let me try 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. Next tomorrow I don't do it. Next tomorrow I don't do it. Next tomorrow, or I do it one day, it's patchy. Over 5 days I say I want to pray at 12 o'clock and it's not working. Yeah, it seems it's 12 o'clock is not working again. You know what? Let me look at my calendar. Maybe 6 o'clock will work, and then you find the sweet spot. 6 o'clock might work now. It doesn't mean 6 o'clock is going to work in 2 years' time. The aim of building great habits is not just, it's continuous improvement, it's fluidity, it's flexibility. It's not to cage yourself into a box of this is how I want to do some. Essentially, the reason why I'm teaching all of these things, I'm talking about all of these things, is improving and being a better version of ourselves is not one single act. It is continuous. Hopefully, we'll do it till the day we die, in various forms. And what is going to make you as in what is going to be important to you, or what is going to be doing things in an agile way. Do what is best for you. And all of these principles are used in the business world. All of the things, as in you look at the agile frameworks, the lean frameworks, the continuous improvement, design thinking, all of these things, where I work in that space, and I kind of started saying that all of those things can actually be applied to our everyday life. And I think that's one of the reasons that Atomic Habits really resonated with me, because it was like, okay, so this is all of the things, continuous improvement in a personal development space, in your personal life, in the way that I do habits and stuff like that. So that's all I wanted to share today. Does anybody have any questions? I hope you found it useful. And I hope you're able to take one or two tips or tricks that you can apply to your life. One of the things I said with the book reviews I want to be doing now is I just don't want us to be I don't want to be talking about books and people are like, I want to be able to talk about books and people can take 2 or 3 things, even if and I want you to read the book. I want you to read the book, and I know a couple of people here have read the book. But even if you haven't read it, some of the principles, you can take it and apply it to yourself, apply it to your life, one way or the other. You can do one of those things. You can do habit tracking. You can do habit, it could be tomorrow. You could be like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk and listen to music. All of those things are things that we can apply to our lives. Thank you very much, everyone. As in, people are saying this is very useful. Thank you so much for joining. And yes, so this is the last one for Atomic Habits. Hopefully I'll think of another. I want to make it more interesting. I don't want it to be just me that is just coming to talk here. So I'm going to try and see if I can get other people. Yes, as in Lola says she's reading it again. Yes, I'm reading, as in I've almost finished it. So for those people who've read it before, thank you, Tony. As in, for those who've read it, read it again. But even if you haven't read it, I hope you've been able to get 1 or 2 tips that can kind of help you to build better habits. Better, as in, habits are for me, I think motivation is overrated. I think discipline is overrated. I think it's systems, like James Clear said, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. For everything that we want to achieve, even in our professional lives, even in our goals, even everything that we want to do. You want to start a business, it's the systems. You want to, it's not worrying about, okay, how am I going to start? Just start and then iterate. Start, iterate, then you just get better at it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you found it useful. I'll save the live for anybody who for those who I'll put it on my YouTube page as well, but I'll save the live on here as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a lovely evening and see you. Maybe I'll run a poll on the book that I don't want to be doing all of this yes, I'm glad. I think me too. I think I'll be reading it every January as well, just to reinforce those things for the goals that I have for the year. I think it helps as well with helping us to do the things that we want to do. So I'll I'll share the book that I'm going to do next. Thank you. I'll share the book that I'm going to do next month. I might make it a bit more streamlined. I have a lot going on at the moment, so I'm just trying not to overwhelm myself with all of these things. So maybe, but I'll see if I can get someone else to come and join me. Maybe one of you to come and join me on a book that we've read together, and we discuss it, and people can gain a lot from it. So thank you, everyone. Have a lovely Tuesday evening, and bye bye. I think I can save the live now.